Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on our video. This video is a better look into the housing market coming up this year. The last two videos we talked about what's been happening in interest rates and what is everyone expecting rates to be this year. And we touched on the housing market a little bit, but we really wanted to go into just a deeper dive real quick. So that's what this video is about. But my name is George Light
And I'm Trisha Ghosh.
and we're mortgage lenders here in Austin, Texas. So let's look at what experts are saying the housing market's going to look like this year. Trisha, give us a recap of what we talked about last video.
Yeah, so interest rates are around the 7% range right now. The end of the year last year, everybody was all the economists were predicting that maybe rates would get down to the sixes. And then they kind of revised that and said, no, maybe 6.5 would be the lowest that they'll go next year. If you want more details on that, go back and listen to that video a little bit more. But 7 to 6.5 is a pretty steady rate. That's not a huge difference at all. And that's a big if as to whether that's going to happen. So that's kind of where we're at with just rates this year.
Broke that down to what it really translates to you on a monthly payment basis. So watch that
Yeah.
video if you want to know what does it mean to you.
Mhm.
But this is the graph that I found. We talked about the home price index, which really talks about all the values of the homes and how they've increased. This graph really talks about versus a median home price. This talks about the average home price because your median is what's in the middle. This one really talks about like encompasses, the values and how values have really increased and, how the top end of the market pulls up the median value, the middle value, or the average values of all of them. And
Mhm.
it also really shows just the transactions year over year of the home sales. So I really wanted to bring this one in. Give me your thoughts on this one, Trisha.
Yeah, so you can see all the different trends. You see 2008 where everything dipped and there weren't a lot of people buying houses. And then you see it kind of steadily
Financial crisis.
rising
Mhm.
as the population has grown in Austin. It steadily rises with how many homes have been sold, peaking in that, 2020 year. There are a lot of people that just flocked to Austin that year. And that's what drove the prices up so much. 2021 is when we peaked with those prices. And then they've had to market correct, like we talked about, and drop it back down to normal levels. And so that's where we are at now. And you see between 22 and 23, rates have kind of stabilized. Yeah. So this chart shows just the raw data of all of that. And you can see that the sales year over year, in 2023, there was 30,502. In 2024, there was 30,557. So we're pretty stable on how many homes have been sold. And then if you look at the average price, that's pretty stable as well. 575 to 567. Like those are pretty stable numbers. Not a huge difference in there. It's 1% difference, right? Um, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple things to point out here is, what I'm seeing here, and when you're talking to buyers, talking to realtors, a lot of them are discussing sellers are acclimating to the concept of it being a buyer's market. And that's why you're seeing, it goes from, negative 10% essentially in
Hmm.
2022, where those rates drop, where the rates increase. We basically hit the wall. 2023, it got worse. And so the volume just goes down. But now everyone's kind of acclimating to that. Uh, you can see the average prices going down, but as far as the year over year volume, that looks to stabilize. So what that's telling us is that the sellers are acclimating to higher interest rates. People just can't afford. I mean, people didn't all magically start making a ton more money just because interest rates went
Yeah.
up. So people can only afford what they can afford, and there's going to be an adjustment to values of the average price. So I think if you combine the year over year percentage and your average price, that looks to me like we're stabilizing a little
Hmm.
bit. And the sales year over year, where is it going to go this year? Well, that's the next slide we wanted to talk
Yeah.
about. Trisha, what are the experts saying about
Yeah.
this year?
So Realtor.com is one of my favorite websites, and they're projecting a 14.5% increase in home sales. So that's not prices of homes, that's just how many people are buying, there'll be 14.5% more people buying homes in 2025 than there were in 2024. And that's kind of just what they've factored in there. And so obviously supply and demand works that if you have more people buying homes, you get more demand, that means that the prices typically go up in a market like this. So Zillow is indicating that they're expecting a 3.4% decrease in the average home values from 23 to 24. And that's still just a like market correction from when we were at the highest. And but it's still an average home value of $444,000, which is still way ahead of where we were in 2019 even. So it's still,
Here,
having that market correction, but we're close. We're just right there.
right. So how can you have, how can you have 14.5% increase in sales
Hmm.
and a decrease in your average home value? Well, the reason is everyone's acclimating. Everyone's figuring out the dance. And the sellers, a lot of people are saying these sellers, they haven't realized that things have changed. And so a lot of sellers are realizing, okay, we're going to come down on our prices a little
Yeah.
bit to get these things moved. And but it doesn't mean that you're going to be buying a depreciating value or a
Right.
depreciating asset. You're not buying because we feel like, when those year over year sales go up, typically behind that, you're going to have the appreciation follow that. So, expert insights. Zillow's chief economist describes Austin's housing market as healthy entering 2025. I like that. I like the word healthy, well adjusted. I'm in my 40s now, and being healthy and well adjusted, that says that I'm not as crazy and wild as I used to be, but I'm also, I'm right there in the middle, right? And so, in conclusion here, what we're talking about is the Austin housing market. We're talking about interest rates. So right now, we know interest rates are stable. We know they're not going to go really low like they used to when the feds were buying mortgage-backed securities. We know that they're probably, eight and a quarters, the average trend line.
Hmm.
7% looks really good compared to 8.25.
Yeah.
We know we showed you that, hey, even if they did dip down to 6.5%, what does that look like to you as far as monthly payments in our last video? And here, I just want to really just drive this home, that this is where we've been. We overheated, prices
Hmm.
have adjusted, rates have gone up. Sellers are acclimating and figure out, hey, this is a buyer's market now. Maybe we pay for some buyer's closing costs. Some
Right.
FHA buyers can come back in the market. Housing affordability is starting to increase a little bit. So we're moving from an overheated, unhealthy market to more of a well-adjusted
Hmm.
middle market. And so, in conclusion, Tricia, what do people need to do?
They need to trust the experts. And having somebody who actually understands the market and can walk you through that is so crucial. And you can see the months of inventory on this slide has steadily increased. So you have more options now. You can go and shop for homes, but you need somebody guiding you to do that. So you have to find a great real estate agent. You need a great lender as well. But that real estate agent is key because they can tell you what to list your house at, and you need to listen to them. I talk to a lot of realtors that they've had those hard conversations with buyers and sellers to try to set proper expectations with the current market because they're professionals. Like make sure you have a professional realtor. They're not just doing this as a side job, but for professional realtors, they need to study the market. They need to understand all these things better than you do as the buyer that's just buying a house once every 5, 10 years. And trust them so that they can guide you through and understand, no, this is a good price, or this is a great area that's doing this or that. And so just trust the experts, and it's
Right now,
Still a good
yeah,
time.
and right now, a lot of people have been sitting on there going, "Hey, man, I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring when there's going to be 20 other offers." Well, there's not 20 other offers anymore.
Right.
So there's first-time homebuyer programs that are coming back and looking strong. There's a lot of different programs. So, work with a good, competent lender that's been doing it for a little while. If you're an FHA, VA buyer, sellers are looking at offers and not necessarily loan programs that they used to. So, like Trisha said, trust the experts, hire someone. But Trisha and I are real likable too, so trust us, but also you can like us as well. So, but thank y'all for you know uh, being patient through these three videos, and thank y'all for listening. And if you have any real estate or mortgage needs, let us know.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.